our national security, but he hasn't explained exactly why it's important to our national security. Can we expect any specifics during his speech to the nation tomorrow night? Mark Thiessen was the former chief speechwriter for George W. Bush. I thank our producers for getting on such a great guest with such a great perspective the day before a major speech. Mark, nice to see you this morning. Welcome. Good morning. Thanks for having me. So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels to me like the president is, I'm going to give a little sports analogy here, like it's the fourth quarter. He's 14 points behind. He's kind of getting into the game a little bit late here, giving a speech too late. Is he starting out already too late by giving this speech, 2 weeks beyond where we started conflict?
I think you got it exactly right. Almost every American president gives certain speeches during his presidency, a State of the Union address and an inaugural address. And at some point during their presidency, most presidents sit there behind that desk in the Oval Office and say the words, "Tonight I have ordered American forces into combat." Barack Obama has not done that. We are 10 weeks into this conflict, 10 days into this conflict. We have American forces flying combat missions. One plane has gone down over Libya, and he hasn't explained the mission to the American people. And the result of that is a Gallup poll just came out that shows that only 47% of Americans support the military intervention in Libya. That is the lowest level of support for any military campaign in 30 years. Now, why is that? Because Barack Obama has not looked the American people in the eye and said, here's why I did this. Here's why I said that, why I put American combat forces into danger.
Right.
Here's what the mission is, and I need your support.
You know, that poll you mentioned brings up a great point, because I want you to take off your partisan hat for just a second here.
Sure.
You're a speechwriter under George W. Bush. Let's pretend you've just been called in by President Obama to write his speech for Monday night. You have to mount sort of a comeback for this guy. He's getting beat up in the press. You saw that Gallup poll we just had up there. You've got to write the speech of your life. What do you have him say tomorrow night?
Well, what you have to do is go through what I would do if I was helping them write the speech, is go through all the questions that have been raised by the critics of this policy. What is our military mission? What is the final objective? How are we going to achieve it? And answer them systematically, so that when people finish watching him on Monday night, all their questions have been answered, or at least most of them. So you got to go through and look at what has everybody been saying, what questions have they raised, and systematically answer those tough questions and do a good job of it.
Put your partisan hat back on now. Do you think he's going to do that on Monday night? Will we get all of the answers to all of these questions? What is the end game? Is it vital to our national security? The humanitarian crisis averted? Will he answer all of those questions?
I don't know that he will. They're very tough questions, and I think the reason is I'm not sure he knows what the answers are. Hopefully he's determining that, but usually you do it before military combat. I mean, the central question is, what is our objective of our intervention in Libya? Originally, weeks ago, President Obama said Gaddafi must go. Then when he did the ultimatum to Gaddafi, telling him what he had to do to avoid military intervention, he never mentioned that he had to go. So we've dropped that objective. Now, all of a sudden, as you've reported, the rebels are using Western air cover to push back on some of these, take back some of these cities they've lost, and they're moving towards Tripoli. Can this mission succeed? This is the central question. Can this mission be considered a success if Muammar Gaddafi stays in power at the end of it?
Interesting questions. Mark Thiessen, great to have you here on this Sunday morning. We will be watching, and we will be taking your notes to heart. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up here on the show, family suing after their 11-year-old got hurt cheerleading. Is the sport getting too aggressive? And does the family have a